6 years have passed since the release of the original Outer Worlds, and Obsidian has been hard at work making the sequel a bigger, better adventure. Not only that, the game manages to find a balance between being a deep RPG experience while remaining simple enough to keep players focused on gameplay as opposed to stat screens. Fallout fans might perk up, as many of the changes are congruent with the Obsidian developed entry, New Vegas. Other changes feel right at home to the modern Deus Ex games. Here is a list of the 9 biggest changes that we noticed as we explored Arcadia. Character creation in the original game had you placing attributes across body, mind, and personality. Each of those attributes would place extra points across a list of affected skills while also giving another perk-like bonus. In the sequel, however, the player picks positive traits that feel like perks to specialize in. These all feel flavorful to the character you want to build. For instance, Witty protects against having negative reputation to the various factions in the game because your fun demeanor makes those factions willing to forgive your past transgressions. This also comes up in dialogue options throughout the game. You can add an extra positive trait if you want to, but then you would also have to take a negative trait as a trade-off. When it comes to further customization, the original game has you place points across core skills such as melee, ranged, defense, dialogue, etc. As you place those points, specialized skills in each group would level up. For example, if you upgraded the core skill Stealth, you would be increasing your specialized skills Sneak, Hack, and Lockpick. The sequel does away with this completely for a more streamlined option that hones in on specific skills. Each level up, you only have 2 points to place across 12 core skills. Each point is now weighed much more heavily. Skills you specialized in during character creation can be raised to max level faster than skills you didn't specialize in. This system makes it harder to be a jack of all trades and encourages players to specialize in distinct builds. In the original game, the player character can respec their skills aboard their ship from nearly the start of the game, and they have this option throughout their adventure. Obsidian has confirmed that there is no respec option in the Outer Worlds 2, aside from the one chance you have at the end of the prologue. The reason behind this design decision is to reinforce that player choices matter and can't be undone. This will undoubtedly make players think more about their choices and also increase replayability. One of the most unique mechanics in both games is in its flaw system. Depending on the actions you take while playing the game, you will be offered an optional flaw with negative effects. In the original game, your reward for taking on a negative flaw was simply another perk point to spend on your character. In the sequel, however, these flaws are more bespoke, each offering its own distinct reward for taking the flaw. Also, unlike the first game, you are not capped on the amount of flaws you can take on. This system really helps make your character feel unique, ensuring that no 2 playthroughs feel exactly alike. In the original game, you are unable to use any grenades, or any other throwable weapon for that matter, with the closest available option being a grenade launcher. In the Outer Worlds 2, however, there are plenty of throwables you can use at your disposal, and they are hotkeyed onto their own button. Not all throwables are lethal. Stealth-focused players, for example, can use distraction devices to slip past enemies. You also have mines at your disposal, which can be very handy if you know the path your enemies will take, or if you know where an enemy will spawn.
Let me know when you need to distract.
Don't let up!
Fans of the more recent Fallout games are quite familiar with their iconic radio stations. This flavorful world-building feature was sadly absent from the original game, but it makes its debut in The Outer Worlds 2. Multiple factions have their own unique radio stations, which is reactive to decisions that the player has made throughout the game.
Auntie's the best choice. It's Auntie's choice.
Companions are commonplace across Obsidian games, and both Outer World games are no exception. The sequel did make some major changes, however. In the original, you would outfit your companion with different weapons and armor pieces, but this management is absent from the sequel. Most of your customization for your companion comes from their unique rewards you get by completing companion quests, and by perks you can select for them every 5 levels. While companion perks did exist in the original, the sequel goes out of its way to make each skill tree feel distinctive for each companion. Companion abilities function a bit differently too. In the original, time would essentially stop as your camera would cut away to an animation of a companion causing mayhem. In the sequel, however, combat continues seamlessly while your companion performs their special move. Exploring Arcadia often nets the player a lot of junk. Just like the first game, you can sell off this junk at local vendors, but the sequel also gives you another system available at workbenches. If you break down this junk into raw materials and combine it with other materials you find around the world, you will be able to craft new items such as ammo or weapon mods. You can also take the system on the go if you choose Niles as your companion and use his field tinkering ability. Workbenches did exist in the original game, but they often functioned as a way to repair the gear you have collected throughout the game. The Outer Worlds 2 does away with its item degradation system completely. The original game also had players managing item weight in their inventory, lest they get the dreaded over-encumbered message. The Outer Worlds 2 does away with its item weight completely, and also doesn't mind if the player is carrying around an arsenal fit to supply a whole troop onto their person. Did you love dressing up in the first game, but were saddened that you were seldom able to see your character because of the first-person perspective? Well, thankfully, The Outer Worlds 2 gives players the option to play the entire game in third person. Not only that, you also have multiple options at your disposal depending on how close you want the character to your screen. You can change this either in the settings menu or by holding down the touchpad if you are on PS5. The game manages to feel fluid in this perspective even during combat. Playing in this mode, mowing down enemies along with your companions on various different planets is a great way to satisfy that Mass Effect itch that many of us have been feeling. So those are the 9 biggest changes in The Outer Worlds 2, which all combine to make a richer, more fulfilling RPG experience. Thanks for watching. For more help on The Outer Worlds 2, check out our growing wiki for build advice and other tips, and for all other things gaming, keep it here on IGN.